Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to shoot a quick little video and show you what happens if you mess up Hydrographics. How do you redo it? What you need to do? So let's go through the steps, let's figure it out and show you guys exactly what you need to do to hopefully get your project going in the right track. So let's get started. So we've got a speed shape right here. These are just from some of our trainings, and so it's already been base coated, already ready to go. So what we're going to do is purposely mess up a hydrographic dip, and then we're going to show you pretty much all the steps that you're going to need to redo it, so then that way you can get back to dipping it and finish it up, make it look awesome, and give it back to the customer, which they're hopefully going to love. And so pretty much let's get this cut here. Nope, no knife. Okay, we're back. We found the knife. So it's a little humid out here today, so we've got some of the edges kind of curling up here. We're just gonna quickly just throw a little bit of tape on this just to make it a little bit easier to handle and to hold. All right, so now that we've got this, let's lay this in the water and mess up this one dip. Okay, so timer went off. So I'm going to over activate this on purpose. And so I'm gonna dip it, show you guys what it's gonna look like. Of course, it's not gonna look very good. And then we're gonna show you what we need to do to help fix it. All right, so we've got that there. Let's dip it down in. Let's just say that we kind of move this like that. This one's gonna look pretty good. So inevitably, we've got a really big wave all the way through there. And then with this right here, of course, I've got a little bit over activated. So let's say that that's a mess up, of course, right? It doesn't look good. We got a big old wave, everything's like that. It's not good. So now what we gotta do, we gotta rinse it off. So let's rinse it off, get it dried, and then let's move on to the next steps on showing you what you need to do to fix it whenever you're at this stage right here. So let's go. All right, so we've got it all rinsed off. All the PVA's been rinsed off of it. So now what do we do? So pretty much, of course, you can see we still have the wave all the way in it. Even whenever I was rinsing it, I still got a little bit of this coming off. So inevitably, this is nowhere near perfect and it needs to be completely redone. So it's actually going to be very simple to redo. All you're gonna need is a Scotch-Brite pad or a piece of sandpaper, normally around 400 to 600 grit, depending on what you've got. And so all you're gonna need to do is mainly just take and scuff this up again, so then that way you can go ahead and re-base coat it. So a couple of things to remember. If you've already done the prep work on this before, you've already blasted it, you've already prepped it out right, you've already put the primer down and then base coated it, and all of that is still there. You don't have to go through the whole process again of redoing all that. All you need to do is to be able to make the second coat of paint that you're about to put on go on to this part, so then that way you can attempt to dip it again. Now, this is something to definitely keep in mind. You can do this normally about 2 or 3 times. I normally don't recommend re-base coating it and re-base coating it more than about 3 times. And the main reason is because you don't want a lot of film buildup, not just the film itself, but the paint and everything like that. You don't want to build that up in a lot of layers. And so once you get about 3 dips in, what we try to do is we will completely strip everything down. And 3 is normally our max. Most of the time, if it's like 1 or 2, then at 2, we're pretty much stripping it and then redoing the whole thing over, because we don't want our coating so thick, so then that way it's a possible failure down the road. So in this case right here, you don't have to get the print all the way off. You can literally just scuff it and just make sure you get a good scuff all the way around. Now again, we're using a red Scotch-Brite. You can also use sandpaper, but anything like that will still be fine. You can also even etch it with a sandblaster if you choose to as well. And so with this right here, you don't need to get it completely off, but you do want to make sure that you get a good scuff all the way around this entire piece. So once you've got everything scuffed up, it's just gonna be like a normal base coat and the normal prep work that you would normally do to paint it the first time. So of course, blow everything off, get all the dust and the sanding dust and everything like that off of it. And then of course, come back in and use some type of wax and grease remover. Now remember, this is bare base coat and dip. So if you use a solvent-based wax and grease remover, it's probably going to possibly take off that paint as well as the actual dip itself. The dip I'm not so worried about, but definitely make sure that you don't want to damage the paint that's underneath it, and then of course it starts to lift the paint and then you have more problems down the road. Most of the time in a situation like this is where our water-based wax and grease remover comes in really handy, because then it's pretty much like a soapy water solution, so that way it helps clean off any oils from the hands or anything like that as you're handling the part, and before you get ready to paint it, you now have a clean surface because you can wipe everything down and it doesn't affect the paint and it also doesn't affect the film, so then that way you still get a really clean surface all the way around it. So now that we've got all of that done, prep it and paint it just like you did before, so then everything will become white again, and then now you're ready to go ahead and dip and hopefully get a lot better dip the second time compared to the first time. So hopefully you guys have really enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. We'd love to hear from you on anything hydrographics related, as well as if you have any other suggestions or techniques that you do whenever you're trying to do a second dip or anything like that. We'd definitely love to hear from you on that. Also, if you haven't already, definitely check out the website. We have tons of stuff for anything hydrographics related, whether it be films, primers, paints, any of the equipment or anything like that. Definitely go check that out. It's also going to be a link in the description, so that way you can check it out as well for any of your hydrographics needs. I'm Brian from Liquid Concepts, and this is how we customize your world. We'll see you guys next time.